the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1097, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, #1 chart topper, Derek Minor.
What up, though?
And from Austin, Texas, author, speaker, and podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
Okay, well, we have a great show coming up. Brittney Moses is joining us. She's one of our favorite mental health experts. There's a narrative that we've been talking about in recent weeks. If you've listened to the conversations with several of these artists, KB, Anna Golden, several people have talked about the importance of mental health and counseling and how it's impacted their lives. We talked to Brittney about some practical stuff. We all know therapy's good. But what if you can't afford it? It's a luxury. What if you get the wrong type of counselor or therapist? So we're talking to Brittney coming up about like kind of a 101 kind of next steps of like how we can actually start to implement this in our lives and fit it in our schedules and our budgets and do it the right way. So anyway, it's a very practical application conversation. Don't miss that. But that's coming up. But first, I got to tell you all some news, dear listeners. This is the last episode with Jamie Ivey, part of the regular cast here on the Relevant Podcast.
Oh, I'm going to get a little teary-eyed over here.
It's at the end of an era, Jamie.
End of an era.
She's not going away forever. She will pop in from time to time. She's given us a promise there. But
yes.
Jamie, tell everybody why you're needing to cut back on some of your commitments.
Well, first of all, I have to say this is every Wednesday, we record on Wednesdays, and every time I go home from the house and we do our little highs and lows, and every Wednesday, my favorite thing of the day is recording Relevant Podcasts. I love it so much. I laugh so much. I go home and tell my family all about the stories of what we talked about. And I have no responsibilities. It's all on Cameron and Emily. So I just get to show up and laugh. But I am going back to school. And so I'm wanting to go to school for a long time. And so, in fact, today that the show comes out is my very first day of classes at Denver Seminary. And so I'll be getting a master's degree, and I just knew that I needed to cut back somewhere and give myself some margin. I have 2 boys that are seniors this year, and I just needed some space. And so this was a hard decision, but a good decision. And I'm going to miss it so much.
We're going to miss you. Absolutely.
For sure.
I am deeply affirming of the why. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like the Bob Goff teaches that principle of like he quits something every Thursday, and it's like why? You know, like he writes about this in his books and stuff. But he really does do this, and he it's a very common sense reason. He's like, we all fill up our lives. We're maxed out every day. And he's like, but we want God to do new things in our lives, but we're maxed out. So he's like, I quit something to create margin so that God can bring something new to fill that space. And that's how life evolves and progresses. And that's what you're doing right now. You're cutting back on things that were filling up your calendar to make room for God to do something new. And we're excited for you. So we're going to miss you though.
Jamie, I'm assuming since it's seminary, it's theology related. But can you talk about the graduate degree you're pursuing?
I could totally talk about it. Listen, it's a Master's of Biblical Arts and Theology. I think that's what it's called.
Cool.
I'm not even 100% sure. I'm going through with the cohort. I'm super excited about it, and it'll be 3 years. And then I'll be done. And so in 3 years, my oldest son will graduate college, my daughter will graduate high school, and I will graduate from seminary if everybody keeps their game face on and does school right. So it's kind of crazy season in the Ivey family.
Yeah. Well, congrats, man.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
cool.
Thank you. I was going to say, you know how you have like moments in your life that you can like remember. Well, I think Jesse remembers every moment of his life, but like I don't have a very good memory. I remember where I was when Jesse called to ask if I wanted to join you guys full time on the cast. It was early COVID. I mean, early, like March COVID, because I'm walking around the grocery store with Jesse and my headphones. It's like the end of the world. People are getting toilet paper, and I literally walked that store like 5 times, just having the time of my life talking with Jesse. And I was so honored to be asked to be a part of this cast, and that was 3 years ago. And so it's been so fun. Like so fun.
It really has.
Yeah, man,
Well, at the end of the episode today, we have a game called A Very Relevant Happy Hour, which is a little bit Jamie Ivey themed. So
all right, let's go.
You don't want to miss that at the end of the show. All right, well, moving the show along. Stay tuned. Up next is Slices. You're listening to Joe P. The song is Don't Wanna Love You. Clearly not R&B 90s sensation Joe, who would want to love you. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Fall is right around the corner, and HelloFresh is here to help you plan for the busy season ahead with tasty dishes delivered to your door. Simply choose your recipes and pick your delivery date, and then lay back and enjoy the last days of summer knowing dinner is covered. Longtime Relevant Podcast listeners know I've been a HelloFresh customer for years. I love it. It makes me feel like I can actually cook. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes. It really does make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. So when life gets busy, don't call for delivery. Get HelloFresh. It's 25% cheaper than takeout and less expensive than grocery shopping too. Just choose your recipes and receive fresh, pre-portioned ingredients so you can get cooking quick. And right now, Relevant Podcast listeners can get 50% off plus free shipping. All you have to do is go to HelloFresh.com/50relevant and use code 50relevant at checkout. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/50relevant and use code 50relevant for 50% off plus free shipping. All right, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right. Well, I hope no one has made plans for this December. If they have, I suggest they cancel them because
other than celebrating the birth of our Savior.
Yeah. I mean, I would put what you have planned for that on hold as well, because our pop culture's good friend Billy McFarland, who's fresh out of prison for various charges related to defrauding customers for the first Fyre Fest that he held, the infamous music festival that has been immortalized with both a Netflix and Hulu documentary. He is now out of prison, and he has released a statement announcing to the world that Fyre Fest 2 is coming soon. In fact, it's coming this December. Now,
Sign me up.
I watched his 1 minute video announcement to try to ascertain some details for this news item.
There are none.
There's very few. All we know is that he spent quite a bit of time in solitary confinement during his prison stint. But he put it to good use, according to him, a 50-page business plan for Fyre Fest 2. Now, even though there are no details, and in the location right now, it's just ambiguously the Caribbean.
Love the Caribbean.
Yeah, so somewhere. No indication on what's involved with Fyre Fest 2. According to the ticket pre-sales, he's already sold quite a number of tickets that range anywhere from a few $100 all the way to $8,000.
Okay.
So, if you're interested in more, I would follow Billy McFarland and see what's coming. Now,
Jesse, just to clarify, you said December, but there's no date yet, and they're targeting the end of 2024. That's all we know.
Which is fast upon us, guys.
The end of 2024.
2024.
Yeah.
Sorry. No,
I missed a year.
I'm
Sorry.
looking at the Fyre Festival 2 pre-sale website, and it says Friday, December 6th, 2024, 12 noon.
Well, that's new, because as of 2 days ago, they hadn't set a date yet. So that's great.
Either way, I usually plan out my early Decembers multiple years in advance. So obviously, I've already marked this on the calendar, and
I'm there.
Okay, but I have a question. Are there any production companies involved in this? Is there going to be
nothing has been announced? It is literally.
Is there going to be a Netflix series?
They're not even going to. They're not even telling you what you get for your $499 ticket versus your $8,000 ticket. They're not saying any details.
Why? Elon Musk does that all the time, and I still got a Tesla, so that sounds great to me.
People will just do it just because they want to be a part of it.
They just want to be a part of it. That's all it is.
I really hope, I sincerely hope that he's winging this, that he doesn't know what's
Jesse,
involved.
when he was in solitary confinement, he wrote out a 50-page plan. That's what he's telling people.
Did he really go to solitary confinement, or was that a
That's
joke?
what he said.
He literally said while he was in
I don't know.
solitary, he wrote a 50-page plan.
Now, this isn't a
What was he
person
in
with
solitary
Yeah, I was
for?
going to say, this isn't the person with the highest level of credibility, so I would take some of this with a grain of salt here. But I really hope there is no marketing plan. I hope he just woke up one day and was like, let's run this back. Let's run it back. What's the worst that could happen?
I love
What's
it.
the worst?
Ja Rule hasn't recovered from his involvement, but
Ja Rule hasn't recovered from a lot of stuff.
Leave it at that.
he says, guys, this is your chance to get in. This is everything I've been working towards. Let's effing go. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
We do not need to effing go.
I'm
Just
sold.
so
I wish, I ain't gonna lie. He has 100 tickets for $100. I wish I had one of those tickets. Cause by this time, 2024, y'all mark my word, those tickets it's gonna be a fever pitch for those tickets. They're gonna be like,
Cameron, you should send Derek as a media representative.
Yeah, it's $100.
Correspondent live on the
bro.
ground.
I'm ready to go.
We'll get media passes like we do for the other music festivals.
Send me. I want to go. I want to go via media pass.
All right, let's go. Okay, what do you have, Jamie?
Okay, so I am going to be honest with you. There's a couple things happening in the world right now that I feel a little behind on. Number one is the Freedom movie. I knew what it was. I saw what it was. I saw all the money. I didn't know people were against it. And then this week, there is a new song by an unknown artist that goes to the top of the charts. And a lot of conservative people are really loving it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's going viral.
Oh, big time.
It went viral. Is that what we should say?
Yeah.
All right, so it's a young man, a bushy red beard, and a guitar, and like the backwoods singing about like working all day and inflation and being kept in his place by inflation, high taxes, and elites. He holds responsible the rich men north of Richmond. Here's a clip.
Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do. And they don't
What's crazy about this is I saw it on TikTok, and it's a catchy song. It's a good song. Obviously, there's a lot of angst behind it, and a lot of people connected with its message. But it went number one on iTunes almost immediately, but then like days later, it was number one on every platform: Spotify, Amazon Music, Billboard Top 100, every chart. It was number one. I was at a birthday dinner with my parents who are in their 70s, and my mom was telling me about this song. And my mom sent it to my dad, and my dad was confused by the lyrics, but my mom really liked the lyrics. And I'm going, my mom only listens to like gospel and worship.
Right.
This song has cussing in it. I'm like, my mind was blown. This song
But
is
it's also
bringing
kind of like
family
stick it to the man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very stick it to the man. Yeah.
It is like, I think the only thing I can remember where instantaneously everyone just knew Oliver Anthony and Richmond, north of Richmond. Well, this is the dress of songs. Do you remember like the afternoon, like
Broke
the dress?
internet.
It was like, is the dress blue or gold? Where all of a sudden one cultural artifact instantly permeates culture, like within the matter of hours. I think this is one of those moments where
it's literally never happened. Like with on the music side, this has never happened before. He's the first artist who's unsigned. He the first song that's like written by one person to do this. He has no label behind him. Like this has literally never happened before.
So is this from the soundtrack to the movie, or because?
No, this has nothing to do with the movie. Sorry, there's two kind of conservative things coming up that people are getting behind.
Two kind of breakout conservative things. This movie, Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom is doing better than Indiana Jones right now.
Yeah,
dude,
and
going
it's
crazy.
Impossible.
It's crossed $175 million in the U.S. It's beat Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, and
wasn't it crowdfunded too?
One of the other big ones. Yeah, it was Angel Studios. It's that model. People donated towards it and stuff. Yeah.
Hey,
Huge.
look, it is what it is. I haven't heard this song yet. I guess maybe I'm maybe I'm not tapped into to the vein. They're not pushing it to me.
Derek, have you not been listening to a lot of conservative talk radio? They've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if you missed those days.
I don't really be on it like that, so maybe it just missed me.
It sort of has like Tyler Childers vibes a little, you know?
I like Tyler Childers.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think thematically there's definitely...
when Glenn Beck and Tucker Carlson are recommending songs, I listen.
I'm out of here, bro.
That's where I go. I just listen to Tucker Carlson's playlist, his recommended songs. It's good stuff, man. I'm joking.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's a moment. My mom was like, she was like, the conservatives have a popular song, like One of Us is number one on the charts, you know, kind of a thing.
But your mama listening to cussing?
I know.
Well, we can put the cussing aside when it's about sticking it to the men in Washington. We can let a few words pass.
Oh, okay.
That's acceptable. Yeah,
it's acceptable in those terms.
I know. You know,
anyway.
Educated, keeping Derek up on white people. I'm telling you, this is.
It's one of the services we provide on this show.
One of the services that I learned. You know?
We tell Jamie what's happening in pop culture. We tell Derek what's happening in white culture. It's great.
Listen, everyone, no matter how religious someone is, the only excusable use of profanity is when you're talking about the government. You know,
that's right.
And all that BS pay. I'm working overtime for some BS pay. That's what he said. Anyway. All right, what do you have, Derek?
So, you know, we talked about the awful situation with The Blind Side and Michael Oher and the Tuohys. Well, they have decided to end their conservatorship for Michael 20 years later.
I would say he's like 38 years old.
Did y'all talk about this last week?
We did. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
we talked about the lawsuit, but now we just found out that they've decided to end their conservatorship over this man 20 years later. So.
Keep it for 20 years. I could see why he was a 18-year-old.
That's why, because they running up a check. That's what it is. So, you know, I think this is one of the things where I'm like, thanks, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like, all right, appreciate it. But
like, thank you for doing the thing you should have done 20 years ago. Like, again, helping him get on his feet when he's 18, whatever. I don't know. They can't adopt him because he's a legal adult. I get the gray area there. But once he got drafted to the NFL and he's not coming home on college breaks anymore, you know what I mean? He's a full grown adult. They should have dropped it then.
I think I read that they were going to serve as his legal guardians until 25 or until the court dissolved it. And honestly, I feel like everyone, I don't know these people and I don't know what's happening, but it feels like maybe everyone was just living their lives. And all of a sudden he's like, I think I should look into this. Like he's not going to the NFL, right? So maybe he has some time on his hands. I bet you money, Jesse, he has ownership in Dunkin' Donuts because I know a lot of NFL players do. So he's probably up Dunkin' Donuts drinking some coffee. And I wonder if it was just kind of like, oh, it's time for me to look into this. What's going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. But I like Derek said, like, at least they're doing it now. They should have the thing they should have done a long time ago. But
it's like, thanks.
Here's the thing. This is a very confusing situation.
White people are slow in making things right when they do things wrong to black people. They're very slow at making it right. Am I wrong, Derek?
Here's the thing.
I say it.
And this is a very confusing situation, and I don't really understand it. I think it needs a sequel to The Blind Side. It's a different tone. It's a very different tone, but it would get to the bottom.
It's more like the Pelican Brief or like one of those, like
a Grisham,
Grisham legal
courtroom. Like you know, because I have no idea what's happening. I think I think we need to move. We need a new Michael Lewis book that will be adapted into a film. That's
this will be a Netflix documentary. This has to. Like
100%.
Yeah,
they're working overtime on that right now.
That's how Michael gonna get his money back if the Tuohys don't beat him to it. If the Tuohys don't beat him to it,
they're both racing right now to call their agency.
Get Netflix on the phone.
Netflix is gonna have one. Hulu's gonna have one.
Oh, that's right, like the Hillsong one. Yeah, the two competing.
I wish it came out that they were secretly working together to just create like the plot of a good documentary. You know,
that would be crazy.
They're playing all of us. All right. That'll do it for Slices. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every weekday where we're covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Stay tuned. Up next, Brittney Moses joins us.
It's hot in New York and I can't get away from pain. I'm losing my nerves and you're losing the waiting game. I know it ain't true, the things we say and do to play it cool. Okay, do you really want to do the old way? Hey, not today, 'cause I can't feel the things that make.
You're listening to Malcolm Todd. The song is Hot in New York. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new dating app, Salt. Now, this one's for all the single Christians out there. Dating as a Christian, can be tricky. You don't want to ask out everyone at church. Your friends don't want to play matchmaker, and you certainly don't want to jump onto any old dating app where you don't know people's values and intentions. That's why we recommend Salt, the new dating app just for Christians. Made by a team of Christians, Salt lets you match and connect on values, character traits, and interests. It's an award-winning app and has connected thousands of couples around the world. Find it on the app or Play Store today and use code PODCAST to get 6 weeks of premium completely free of charge. Again, go check out Salt in the App Store or Play Store today. Well, our guest today is Brittney Moses. She's a trusted counselor and friend of the show who's on a mission to make mental health care more accessible. Emily talked to her to discuss the basics of therapy and how you can access help regardless of your financial status. Here's part of our conversation with Brittney Moses.
I think maybe a good place to start is sort of figuring out terminology, because I feel like the term therapist and counselor and even psychologist are used interchangeably. So what is the difference between all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're very similar in terms of they have a very similar educational and training track. They both use, certain theories to explain human behavior. They have shared goals between the therapist and the client to try to reduce symptoms and really measure if there's a difference in what's working and what's not working. They're both trained professionals who apply techniques that can help with various, mental, emotional, and behavioral issues, as well as the capability to diagnose. So there's a lot of overlap, but I would say if you're really getting to the nitty-gritty of the differences, counseling really is probably more brief. It's really looking at resolving the practicality of problems, maybe in day-to-day life. It might focus more on specific issues or short-term problems like managing stress or making a career decision. You might have seen different types of counselors like school counselors, career counselors, substance and rehabilitation counselors, right? So they typically have the term LPC, licensed professional counselor, or LMHC, licensed mental health counselor. However, this isn't a strict rule. They also can and do work with long treatment plans as well. So that's kind of the umbrella of counseling. And then there's psychotherapy or therapy, which tends to focus more on, I want to say, long-term, deeper chronic issues, chronic and complex life problems. So things like diving into past traumas, chronic mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, bipolar. Therapists often work with children, individuals, couples or families. They typically have, you'll see LMFT for licensed marriage and family therapist, or MFT. But you'll see a lot of, again, overlap between these positions. And then with psychologists usually tend to have a PhD or a PsyD, where therapists and counselors tend to have master's degrees. So psychologists can and do work as therapists, but not only that. Many also go on to be researchers or professors and authors. So those are, I want to say, if you were to break down therapy, psychologist, and counselor. And I think the other one I want to throw out is psychiatrist, right? Because people want to know who's the one that can prescribe, medication if you need it. That's typically the psychiatrist, because a psychiatrist is a medical doctor, an MD who specializes in psychiatry. So they've gone to medical school, and they have training in like adolescent psychiatry or addiction psychiatry. And so they can diagnose and treat mental health conditions. They can also provide therapy, but some just focus primarily on medication management. So that's where your psychiatrist comes in. And often the two will work together. You may have a therapist and a psychiatrist, and they work together as a part of your care team.
How does someone know, like, should they go to a therapist versus a counselor? Like, how do you determine that?
Yeah, you know what? I personally like to say just start somewhere, because both are going to be helpful. Both have similar trainings. And I think it's really going to come down to the therapeutic relationship, meaning how well you are doing with that therapist or counselor, how helpful they are for you, how that relationship's going, which does take some time to see if it's a good fit for you, and you're always able to make the change if you need to find, someone different. I know it's not that easy. I know sometimes it can be hard to locate a therapist, but that is an option. I think what's really important to point out is what research has found that makes counseling and therapy effective is really, the therapeutic relationship. So how well you and that therapist kind of are a fit together and working together is a really big deal in a person's improvement, as well as how much hope you as the individual have in your treatment and in it working in your life and in it getting better. That actually plays about 15% of a role in how effective it is for you, as well as the techniques that therapists and counselors can apply. And actually, one of the biggest factors that is effective are actually extra therapeutic factors, which are things that happen outside of the therapy room, like how motivated people are to make changes, how open-minded they are to make changes, as well as like how severe problems are outside of the therapy room. So, these are the things that are actually shown to be most effective. So I usually say start somewhere, because I think that if you get too wrapped up in, should I see a therapist? Should I see a counselor? Should I see a psychiatrist or a psychologist? Like, which one should I see? That might actually hinder you from just taking a step forward and just opening that door to meeting with someone and getting that experience. And because it's likely going to be helpful in some way and beneficial in some way either way, and then make the adjustments that you need down the road from there. But I would suggest starting somewhere.
When someone does say, like, okay, I want to find a counselor, is there like a resource they can go to look for counselors in their area?
Yes, I'm so glad that you asked, because this is like a big deal for me, because me as a millennial, who's living in this economy, I get it. Like, therapy is not always super accessible or easy to navigate. Especially, it's just like when you got off your parents' health insurance for the first time, and now you're trying to figure out how to find your doctor, your dentist, and then it's your therapist, right? Like, it's all in that. And I say that as someone who is like in training and studied and in school for this and has studied this. Like, it's hard. So I think I want to offer two routes. Like, first is how to look for a therapist. And then I think it'd be great to talk about, some maybe low cost options that are more accessible. So typically when looking for a therapist, people will go through their insurance and their insurance directory to see, what therapists are within their coverage. Usually there's like a website for your insurance directory or a number that you can call where you can maybe put in like your zip code and see what therapist is under your coverage nearest to you. And then you can start there by literally like cold calling or cold emailing and just letting them know you're interested. It's kind of like dating. It's so funny to me, but and then So that's one way to go. You can also go through directories like psychologytoday.com, where you can put in your zip code and find a therapist near you. And psychologytoday.com is pretty cool because you can filter for like either your insurance or for cost or for culture. Like if you want someone who is like within your cultural background or within your faith background. So there are some filter options there that are cool. So directories work. And then I would say for the more low cost options and the more accessible resources, there are great peer support groups. It's not therapy, but it is beneficial. There are people who are trained that help facilitate these groups. I was trained as a peer support group facilitator for NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, which is one of the largest grassroots mental health organizations in the US. So they have peer support groups that are great. Also, university counseling centers. If you are a student, a college student, many universities and colleges offer free or low-cost counseling services to their students. It's often a part of your student fees. Another low-cost option are graduate training clinics. So most of these clinics are at universities and colleges, which are therapists who are in training at the graduate level, and they're typically over cost and overseen by, supervision, by professionally licensed supervision. Another great one is actually lowcosthelp.com. It's a national directory of affordable and sliding scale counseling services. And they're partnered with something called Open Path Psychotherapy, which is a nonprofit network of mental health professionals dedicated to providing in-office mental health care at a really reduced rate for individuals, couples, children, families. So those are some options for therapeutic support. And then we have the hotlines, which are great for crisis situations, or even warm lines that we call them, where it's you don't have to necessarily be suicidal or in a major crisis, but maybe you're just at your limit, you're at your peak, and you need someone to talk to. And so, there's a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is now dialing just 988. And then there's the crisis text line. I've been a certified crisis counselor. That's great. It's just a anonymous, free, non-judgmental option, 24/7 crisis support through text message. You can text HOME to 741-741 to connect with a crisis counselor at any time. So these are great lines that you can count on kind of when you need someone at any moment, at any time to just kind of debrief with.
That is so great. I feel like that was so many wonderful resources. I did want to go back to something you sort of mentioned, and I'd like to dig into. You're talking about how therapists, some of them might not necessarily specialize, but they might have the same faith background or the same culture background as you. Would you encourage someone to seek out a therapist who has that same background? What are the pros and cons to that?
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite questions because I always get if you're a Christian, should you only be seeing a Christian therapist? And certainly there are benefits to that. There are benefits to somebody who maybe already shares or understands the basis of your worldview. There might be a little bit less that you have to explain, and that's super helpful. I will say that all therapists are trained or supposed to be trained to be culturally competent and to try to have some background and understanding on where people are coming from and to meet people where they are. So I think there is a fear sometimes in the faith community that if you go see a therapist who isn't Christian, they're going to try to kind of override your beliefs and push this psychobabble jargon, new age, whatever, onto you. And I have to say that's quite unethical. It is very highly stated as unethical. You cannot go in there and try to change someone's beliefs. Being a culturally competent therapist means you are meeting people where they are. You are trying to understand their worldview. What are the things that help them in their faith, and continuing to connect them to those resources, those faith-based resources in their own community as well. So that being said, I think I want people to think a little bit more critically about this, because even if your therapist, say, is a Christian, that doesn't mean that they believe everything that you believe. Like, and on the flip side, in therapy, we're also taught that even though we have a client that maybe shares the same faith as us, that doesn't mean that they believe everything that we believe, right? There is a vast spectrum of doctrine in the Christian faith, of even types of denominations, of even different worldviews, interpretations even of scripture along the spectrum of faith. So either way, like, you're gonna have to get to know what it is that this person believes, you know, what it is that informs their faith, what it is that helps them, what it is that shapes their worldview. Either way. So yes, it is helpful, but whether you have a Christian therapist or not, either way, you're going to have someone whose goal is to meet you where you are, whose goal is to understand your worldview and to help that. I would say it is a red flag if there is someone who demeans that or kind of bypasses that or doesn't seem to care about that or is pushing something else on you. That is clearly against what you believe. That's something worth having a conversation with them about. But my philosophy is that, especially if someone's in crisis, it's just better to get help with someone who is trained than no help at all, right? Like, if it's between waiting and locating a Christian therapist and just finding someone to get your foot in, to get you the help that you need so you can start finding relief, so that you can start functioning again, so you can start feeling better, I'd rather you just find someone who is trained, because again, the educational tracks are very similar.
That was Brittney Moses. Make sure to check out the rest of that conversation, as well as other resources on how you can take care of your mental health over at relevantmagazine.com. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's a very relevant happy hour.
What if I told you I don't got no one? Who was I back when I was what you love? Somebody told me it couldn't be us. Been everywhere, I got nowhere to run. I wanna see you be my lover. 'Cause there's no other. Don't wanna see you with no other.
You're listening to Felly. The song is There's No Other. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by Nav Press's new book, Centering Jesus. As America's polarization continues to grow, we need a renewed vision of Jesus as the Lamb of God who can shepherd us in the peaceable ways of the kingdom. In Centering Jesus, author Derek Vreeland invites you to imagine what it looks like to keep Jesus at the center of three key areas of our lives: our spiritual formation, our moral lives, and our common life together. In the book, you'll discover a Jesus-centered approach to the Christian virtues of faith, hope, and love, the foundation of our moral lives. And right now, Relevant Podcast listeners can get 25% off. Use the code RELEVANT25 to get 25% off your purchase of Centering Jesus right now at navpress.com. That's N-A-V press.com. All right, it is time. This is the last segment of Jamie being on the cast. We're gonna have to update the show graphic and Photoshop her out.
Just kind of put a big X through my picture for a while.
Never.
Well, dear listeners, tune in next time and we'll tell you who will be replacing Jamie in the cover, but we're not going to talk about that now. Today is a day for sadness.
I don't even know.
Nope. Y'all don't know. Anyway, okay, so we wanted to send her off in style and do a Jamie themed game, a trivia game. You guys, I guess you guys are going to have to. So the original concept that Emily and I talked about was we were going to do things like the concept of happy hour, happy, Jamie, Austin, like themes of her life, and we would do a trivia game that we would all play. Okay. Emily wrote a Jamie Ivey trivia game. So
Emily.
Oh yeah. So wow. Jamie, you can't play because you will, but you can tell the answers. You can say, all right, here we go. So this is mano a mano. This is mano a mano. Derek versus Jamie. All right, Jesse, you're up first. At first, this is what I told Emily I didn't want to do, because if we don't know the answers, then Jamie's going to get her feelings hurt.
I promise I won't. I promise I won't.
Yeah.
I'm a grown up.
All right, here we go.
I'm
Jesse,
secure.
you're first.
I know
Jamie
I
Ivey.
know all the answers.
Jamie Ivey is not only a co-host on the Rolling Podcast, but she also hosts her own podcast, The Happy Hour. And she's not the only Jamie to host a show. Which other famous Jamie is the host of Mythbusters? Is it Jamie Lee Curtis, Jamie Oliver, Jamie Heineman, or Jamie Kennedy?
I know the show well. A lot of Discovery Channel shows I know very well from the Oscar side biz days. Jamie Heineman, yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm looking at the questions again, and Jamie is the beginning of every question, but they do go beyond Jamie. So, Jamie,
good. So
you're playing too.
I'm playing too.
You're playing too.
I'm in.
Right. Derek, you're up now.
She's been mentored by her. I know who helped her write this.
Jamie Ivey is a current resident of Austin, Texas. What was the original name of Austin? Was it Houston, Stephenville, Texas City, or Waterloo? This is for Derek.
You know good and well I don't know this answer. C. What's C? What was the answer?
Texas City? Texas City?
Can I
Texas
guess?
City. Yes.
Go ahead and guess, Jamie.
I want to guess Waterloo.
It is Waterloo. Waterloo is the original name of Austin. There you go. All right, Jamie, you're up. Jamie Ivey spent an entire month last summer traveling through Italy. What are the official languages spoken in Italy? Is it Italian only, Italian and English, Italian and Spanish, or Italian, Spanish, and English? Official languages.
Official, I'm going to go with Italian.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right.
This is
All right,
a
round
Tyler
one.
Huckabee game if I've ever heard one. I'm trying to tell you.
This is the student surpassing the master. All right. So it is now tied 1-1 between Jesse and Jamie. Here we go. Round two. Jesse, you're up. In 2014, Jamie Ivey started the Happy Hour podcast. Also in 2014, Pharrell released his hit song Happy. Which line is the current lyric from this song? Which line is the correct lyric from this song? Sorry. Clap along if you feel like happiness is what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you know that happiness is your truth. Or clap along if you feel like dancing is what you got to do. What's the correct one?
I think it's the room without a roof.
That is correct.
Boom.
Right.
Boom.
You know you're Pharrell. All right, you're up, Derek.
Don't give it to the Virginia guy.
Got to.
He's got Mythbusters in Virginia, man. It's
Right,
almost
I'm
like I'm
like-
sandbagging it.
Exactly.
I'm not. I promise. I'm
Right
just
down
reading it in
the
order.
middle. Right down the middle.
Yeah. All right, Derek. Jamie Ivey was born on May 6th, but that's not the only day she can be celebrated. What day is National Jamie Day? Is it February 13th, July 2nd, October 9th, or December 16th?
And then y'all gonna give me this. What was the
February 13th.
I need to know this.
July 2nd, October 9th, or December 16th?
Man, we just gonna say December 16th. That's my birthday, so we just picked that.
You know what's crazy is National Jamie Day is the day her book is coming out, February 13th.
Are you serious?
February 13th is National Jamie Day.
Let's go.
Let's
That's
go.
hilarious. That's crazy. All right,
love
Jamie, you're up. Jamie Ivey is a proud Texan. And like every Texan, she knows the best food in the state. What is the official state snack of Texas? Brisket, chili, pecan pie, or chips and salsa?
Okay, she said snack.
Yeah.
Official
Nobody's
state
like,
snack.
nobody's getting a brisket sandwich for snack.
It
I'm
is
going to go with
Texas.
chips and
It is
salsa.
Texas. Chips and salsa is correct.
Yes.
I really wish it was a full meal was a snack in Texas.
That would be
Brisket.
amazing.
It's brisket, chili, and pecan pie, with chips and salsa.
Exactly.
How about that?
Ribeye. Yeah. T-bone ribeye for my midnight snack. Yeah.
All right, round three, points go to 3. So it's 2-2-0, but it's anybody's game because these are all worth 3 points each.
All right, let's
Jesse,
get
you're
it.
up. Here we go. Jamie Ivey has lived in Austin, the state's capital. Jamie Ivey has lived in Austin, Texas, the state's capital. What else is Austin known as? Is it the queso capital of Texas, the bat capital of America, the tech capital of the South, or the cleanest city in Texas?
I mean, I think all of them could apply, but I think there's a bridge there that has a significant amount of bats that come out. I'm going to go with the bat thing.
The bat capital of America is correct.
Y'all,
Yep.
Bat Fest is coming up if you want to come to town.
Cool.
I'm straight.
yeah.
Y'all got
Hard
it.
pass.
You
but
stand
cool.
on this bridge, Derek. You stand on this bridge, South Congress, and at like dusk, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of bats come out.
Why? do they do
It's
that?
what every tourist has to do at least once when you come to Austin. I've done it once.
I'm saying, why do the bats come out? Are they afraid, or they just like?
No, they come out at night to feed. So they sleep under this bridge and they migrate here. So they're not here all year. I'm sure they give lots of lessons.
That's
at
when
Bat
I would
Fest.
leave town. I would.
Yeah, I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
All right, Derek. Over the years, Jamie Ivey has shared about the unique experiences of living in Texas. Which famous Texas event features a greased pig chasing competition? Is it the Texas State Fair, the South by Music Festival, the Houston Rodeo, or the Pecan Festival? Greased pig chasing competition.
Man, I'm gonna go with the state fair. That sounds like a state fair situation.
The Pecan Festival is the correct answer.
The Pecan Festival has that? That's here in Austin.
Grease pig chasing, yeah. You can go enjoy it. Jamie Ivey, you're up. Jamie Ivey is the author of numerous books, including You Be You and If Only You Knew. What other famous Jamie wrote the children's book Me, My Selfie, and I? Is it Jamie Foxx, Jamie Dornan, Jamie Lynn Spears, or Jamie Lee Curtis?
I think Jamie Lee Curtis wrote that.
She writes children's books. That's correct. There you go. Oh. All right. Last round. Here we go. Sad music can start cueing because the sad, it'll just start slowly building for the next 2 minutes. Jesse, Jamie Ivey hosts the Happy Hour, which is available to listen to in all countries. But what country has made real life happy hours illegal? Is it England? Illegal. England, France, Ireland, or Portugal?
Wow, what a terrible country.
What all of these are drinking countries too. This all shocks me.
I know.
And why would they make it illegal? Why just discounting drinks is illegal? Like, it's weird. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm very close with a lot of French families, and from my experience, they enjoy happy hours. The Portuguese have always struck me as very cool people. I'm going to go England for some reason. It seems like they have a lot of arbitrary laws. It seems like tyranny is a big theme of their country. I'm going to go with England.
Ireland is the correct answer. That's the last one I would have expected.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? I bet it's because too much drunkenness was happening, and so the country had to
I gotta look into this. Something's fishy about this.
I don't mean to disparage all Irish people as y'all being a bunch of lushes, but
I've been to Ireland. There's a lot of drinking there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The government has to say, chill out, everybody.
It's lit.
All right, here we go. Derek, before Jamie Ivey was a podcaster, author, and speaker, she worked as a teacher for many years. She's not the only famous Jamie to make a career change. What did Jamie Oliver, the famous chef, do before he became a renowned chef? Was he a teacher, musician, a sales rep, or a writer? Jamie Oliver.
I'm going sales rep.
He was a musician.
Oh, wow.
Of course. Everybody's a musician.
All right, Jamie, last one. You can win it if you get this right. Here we go. 22 years ago, you married your husband, Aaron Ivey. How many types of ivy plants are in existence in the world? Is it 6, 12, 15, or 25?
I gotta be honest, every one of these seems very low.
How many types of ivy plants?
I think there's a lot, so I'm going to go with 25.
15 is the correct answer.
Can't be right. There's no way that's right. Emily made the last 3 up, that whole round.
The whole Ireland and the ivy thing,
That was hilarious.
That's funny.
Good job, Emily.
Well, that'll do it for a very relevant happy hour. Jamie, we just want to say thank you. And I know you're going to come back and we'll catch up from time to time, but we are so grateful for you being committed to this show with everything you have going on. And you've brought such a cool dimension to it. And we're going to
say you're kind. I've loved it. Every minute.
Well, before we wrap up, I want to again thank Brittney Moses for joining us. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com for more info on how you can take care of your mental health and for more of that conversation that we had with her. Also, while you're at the site, make sure to check out the last couple weeks of our summer issue of Relevant. We have fantastic conversations with the likes of Lauren Daigle, who's on the cover, Christine Kane, Naomi Rain, Judah and Chelsea Smith, Arizona, and a lot more. It's available for free. Just click on the magazine tab over at relevantmagazine.com. Also, make sure to check out Relevant Plus. It's the best way to experience our content enhanced and ad-free. All the information is right there at the website. Plans start as low as $250 a month. You get unlimited ad-free reading and listening. It's the best way to experience our content, like I said, and we'd love the support. Think you like it. Also, we are hiring. Now, we've gotten a lot of applications, and I apologize we haven't gone back to everybody yet. But before we buckle down and make the decision here in the coming weeks, if you're good at podcast editing or video, social media, content creation, project management, sales, we'd love to hear from you. All the information about our openings is available at relevantmediagroup.com. You can fill out an application right there, and we will go through them all. I promise. On that note, we will wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
For the last time.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Oh, it's at the end of an era, Jamie.
Relevant Podcast Network.